Hi, I'm just here with your Troy Bilt snowblower, and I just wanted to go over the service items with you and the joystick repair, as well as any of the issues that I found when I was going over the machine. So we'll just start here at the front and work our way to the back. Your skid shoes, I removed them on both sides and flipped them over. They should be flipped every season. I also set the height so that the center of the scraper bar, or your shave plate they call it, isn't touching the ground. That's not actually supposed to ride on the ground. So what happens is what's happened to yours. It's actually worn out on both sides. So as they wear out, they start to wear it down underneath. I don't know if I can get a shot of this or not for you. It's kind of hard to see it, but what they do is they start wearing out the depth of them. So the ends of those shave plates, if you can see it right here through the side of this in that slot, the sides of the shave plates actually are part of what keeps the side of the auger housing. It reinforces it, so it sort of grips it. So as you wear it out too far, you actually start wearing into your bottom of your auger housing, and you wear out the shave plate, and then the front of the snowblower gets floppy on the sides. Anyway, it's up to you. You can replace it or not replace it. I'm going to include it on an estimate for you, so you know how much it costs and how much, like, the time to do it. It's not a long time. And the bolts will also have to be replaced on the sides for sure. Sometimes they just seize and you have to replace them anyway, but there's two there that are, the nuts are wore right off. I'll have to grind them off when I take it off. Anyway, so I'll have that on the estimate for you. Your augers themselves aren't in horrible shape. If you look at, I'll use these two as an example. This one here on the left, you can see there's bent. I'm not going to try and straighten it. If it's still functioning okay, I think it's probably going to still work okay for you. It's just that it's getting bent out of shape, and sometimes if you try to straighten these out, they're actually welded in the center, and if you try to straighten them, they'll actually start to crack on you. So I would end up possibly ruining it for you. So we'll just leave them the way they are for right now. I checked your impeller bearing. That's up here. Made sure there's no excess side play or anything like that, and it's in good shape. Did note there's some rust and stuff like I see on most snowblowers in the impeller housing. I would just encourage you maybe in the summer months to just give it a little bit of a coat of red trim-clad rust paint. And it'll just make it work a little bit better when you hit into wet snow, because the wet snow doesn't like to stick to the glossy painted surface as much as it does to the rust, so the snowblower will work a little bit better and it'll last a little bit longer for you too. I lubricated your chute and your deflector pivot points and rotation. Made sure that it would all slide nice and easy, including the little gear mechanism up in here that controls the chute rotation. I checked your auger and your drive belts. Your drive belt's in good condition. Your auger belt is hourglassed in a couple of spots. I would recommend changing that now. I had it set up here so that you could see that sort of chewed there a little bit on the sides and stuff. It's hard for me to get this camera to focus. You can see how it's chewed up there. Anyway, I would recommend changing that auger belt before you get into the winter. Set your tire pressures in both tires, 20 psi. I changed the engine oil, new 5W30 engine oil. Removed your spark plug, made sure it was still okay and serviceable, made sure the gap was all right, and it is. Drained the fuel out of the carburetor, just make sure there was no sediment laying in there and stuff. Seems to be in good condition. Didn't see any problem with it. The fuel in it and the machine does smell like it's starting to get a little stale, but that usually happens when you have something that sits over the summer and it's not being used. So what I'm going to do is I'll remove that little bit of fuel that you have left, and I'll add a couple of liters of fresh stuff for you. Checked all your cables, made sure the ends aren't about the brake. So if you watch these right here in this this part, these cables, what they do is they start to wear away over time, and they'll break right here at this joint. So made sure they're still in good shape, and they are. For your chute rotation, repaired that with, if I can get a shot of it, yep. I can see I put a little bolt and a nut and a washer down there, so it's got a nylock nut on it, so it won't back out on you, and it seems to be turning okay. Lubricated everything all up inside, made so it would rotate back and forth. I did note that the deflector cables themselves, what happens to cable housings, after a while they break here just because of the angle. The cables really should be up like that, and they tend to slide back down in. And that's part of what this little guy here does. If you keep that slid down towards this little cable guide, then it'll keep it from going up. So what'll happen in the wintertime is sometimes where they start getting like this, you get water in them, and they'll freeze up, and your chute deflector won't want to move. I'll include in the estimate replacing those cables. I can replace them, or if you want to just leave it the way it is and muscle around with it when they freeze up, then you can do that as well. Your belt cover, I did notice on that, your belt cover is also a retainer. So the little humps here on the side, you see them. The idea of those humps is that when you disengage your auger, and the belt is running free on the pulley like it is right here, so you can see it's nice and floppy. So if this didn't have a cover on it, every once in a while it's going to want to try and jump off that pulley when you disengage your auger. So the idea of these little bumps is they sort of wrap themselves around that belt, and when you disengage the auger, they act as a retainer and keep the belt on. The bad part about these older covers is that after a while that bump starts to get worn away, and yours is actually getting wore over on the other side as well. So I'd recommend changing that cover. The new updated one comes with just a round metal band that does the same job, but it doesn't wear out as much as that plastic does for sure. So anyway, I'll include that as well in the pricing for you. Let's see, I don't think there was anything else. I think I've gone over most everything. Check your electric start works okay, and I did note that on the recoil rope, it's starting to get a little bit chubby. That's what I call it. Just you see up here that it's a little bit smaller in diameter, and down here it's starting to get fuzzy. That just tells me that the recoil rope is starting to get used, and this one may last you the whole winter. I'll hope for that. If you want that replaced, you let me know. I'm not going to include it in the estimate right now, but if you would like it replaced as well, I can do that. Or you can, I mean, if most people just use the electric start anyway. Other than that, I tested the machine, made sure it goes forward and backwards. Did note that reverse 1 wasn't really there, so I'd made an adjustment so it would go forward and reverse in all the gears the way it's supposed to. So you have R1 and R2 now, and forward 1 the way it's supposed to. Auger engages, engine starts okay and runs okay, and no issues there or anything like that. One of your little knobs here for securing your handle. Let's see if I can spin that around. You can see that one's cracked in half. So what I'll do is I'll probably just remove this black knob, and I'll just put a washer underneath the nut and tighten it up for you so that it handle's secure, because I noticed the handle's a little loose there on that side. Anyway, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I'll get back to you soon with pricing for the repairs that I mentioned in the video. You have a great day.